What's up, fantasy managers? This is the Fantasy Footballing Show. Now, we all know the late round draft picks is what determines champions. If you're not sure who to get in the late rounds, then this video's for you. We're going to share our 6 running backs for you guys to target in the late rounds that will help you do well in your leagues. These players are timestamped. And with that being said, enjoy the show.
What's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard Ethan Wolf, coming at you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Footballing Show. Today's episode, our favorite late round running backs. Jason, last night, I fell in love with the runner. Is that funny? Literally, dude, like, I am so hyped. These are true late round running backs, like 12th round, 12th round, 24th round in 12 people leagues. So, dude, like, buckle in your seatbelts because, man, like, I fell in love with the runner last night, and I'm throwing singles. I'm making it rain all over this dude for the next 2 months. Well, a month and a half until the draft. Anyways, Jason, before we get into all of that, can you please tell the public how they can help this show?
Some support, please, with subscriptions, some likes. We like the likes. And if you can text us some comments about how you guys feel about our late round running backs. And if you want some additional content, you can find us on Instagram at the Fantasy Footballing Show. Or if you're in the radio stations, we're also on Spotify. Check it out.
All right, Jason, thank you so much. Hey, we've gotten a ton of subscriptions the last, like, dude, even if you just click that little thumbs up, that little thing right there, it makes us feel so good about this. Believe it or not, it takes a lot of work, dude, like hours. So we're doing this for us and our best friendry. But, hey, dude, just to get some, like, I'm trying to think of validation. It's amazing. So thank you so much. Jason, let's get straight into this. Who is your first late round running back?
Okay, so my guy, and this is going to be based off a 12-man league. The first person. I'm sorry. Why are you looking?
I'm waiting.
I'm sorry. I'm drinking half my Monsters, so I'm a little wired. Okay, so this is a 12-man league, and my first running back I'm going to talk about is Zach Charbonnet, who is 22 years old. His ADP right now is round 10. Remember, in a 12-man league. I like this guy. Draft capital, right? They got him in the second round, so you know they want to use this dude. He appears to be like heading towards like the receiving back for the Seattle Seahawks. Last year he had 37 receptions at UCLA for 321 receiving yards. And Pete Carroll has gone on the record and said they are wanting to give Zach a lot of opportunities in 2023. So Kenneth Walker, he definitely has a higher breakaway speed. But Zach, I believe, will be better within the tackles, as Zach appears to be like better within runs and the structure of the O-line and hits the holes, like regardless if they're small or big. Like he's going in the goal. He's going in the holes other than always like trying to pop outside. And then last year at UCLA, Zach averaged 6.9 yards per carry, and Kenneth Walker for Seattle last year, he had 4.6 yards per carry, and that's just above the league average of 4.4 last year. But the thing is like Kenneth Walker, he had a 23.7 stuff rate, which that means he had runs of no gain or like stop behind the line. And that was his rate. 23% of the time that happened to him. He was just getting stuffed. And we kind of seen like running backs like this in Seattle before, where they had Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. And what we kind of noticed out of that is that Pete started the more consistent player over the big play player. But I don't think like Zach Charbonnet is going to like steal the lead back roles from Kenneth Walker. But I think he's definitely going to cut into some of like Walker's time. So I feel like getting him later, you're going to see a lot of productivity out of Zach Charbonnet. Just waiting on him until like the later rounds. He's going to get his.
Where is he going right now, Jason? Did you say?
Yeah, 10. Round 10.
All right, and that's 12-man league. So, yeah, that's
12-man league.
That was our cutoff for the mid-round gyms. So, yeah, that's great. That's like at the top of the heap. And like you said, Jason, he is a different runner. So, like, you just talked about stuff rate, and it's like when you watch Kenneth Walker, he's kind of like that Barry Sanders type that likes to hang out behind the line until he's patient until whatever. but then Charbonnet hits the hole and he goes straight. So, yeah, like there is a space for him in this offense. I'm sure Pete Carroll's going to design plays for him. So, yeah, like where he is going, plus, Kenneth Walker's injury, I think that's a great pick.
And like Zach Charbonnet had more receptions last year in college than Kenneth Walker had. I think Kenneth only had like 20 receptions last year. So it looks like Zach Charbonnet, he's also the bigger guy who could probably pass protect a lot better. And so I think he's going to be in there on a lot of passing plays.
Yeah, you just spurred my memory, Jason. I remember them saying that Kenneth Walker's biggest weakness is pass protecting. So that's where you can see he's not getting that many opportunities to catch passes, to be in there on those throwing downs. So you can see Zach Charbonnet taking that over too.
All right.
Is that it, Jason?
Yep.
All right. Where's my pen? We're going straight into my top guy. And this guy is world-class athlete on a team full of world-class athletes, Jason. We're going Achane. This is the son of 2 chains. The next son, this guy's son's going to be half a chain.
Half a chain. It's just going to be chain.
Half
it's going to
chain.
be chain. Chain.
All right, dude. So, like, I didn't know this, but this fool did run the fastest 40 time at 4.32. He is only 5'8", 188 pounds. But, dude, like, this guy is so fast. And if you know anything about Mike McDaniels, this guy sets up for, like, that one cut through the hole, and just all you need is top end speed, and you can get 250-plus yard touchdowns before halftime, just like Raheem Mostert used to do in his youth. So this guy was a 3rd-round draft pick. So they invested heavily. I think they only had 4 draft picks this draft, and one of them, like the top one, was a running back. So you can see what they wanted to address, and they want to protect Tua. He averaged 6.5 yards carry at Texas A&M in the SEC, and he had 36 receptions last year. So just watching him, he looks like a great pass-catching running back. He averaged 23 touches per game in 2022, including a 38 carry game against LSU Tigers. Jason, we talked about that. So he's not your typical small running back. Like, he can carry a load, surprisingly.
Carry the load.
So he is not a good pass catcher. That is my biggest knock on. I'm not pass catcher, pass blocker. So, I mean, I think that just has to do with his size. But we can see him maybe dominate. We could see him, like, potentially, this is like high end. He could split early down work and then dominate the receiving work and see enough volume to have running back 2 upside. This guy is going in the 12th round. ADP is 168, Jason. And that's 12th round in a 12-man league. His only competition is Mostert, who's 31 years old, and dude was injured half the time when he was 21 years old. So, I mean, come on. And then my name is Jeff Wilson. And so, like, dude, if you tell me those guys are ahead of this guy and they invested into him, this guy was he ran the 100 meters for the Aggies track team. We're literally talking about a track star with crazy elusivity. He's very elusive.
It's like these words.
Oh my God, dude. And my comp for him when I watched him, because I was like, dude, this guy's balance is off the charts. Like, I said his number one attribute was, elusive, or whatever, that speed and that. But dude, you combine that with his like rare trait, which is balance, and you've got Marshall Faulk, dude. Marshall Faulk light. So Marshall Faulk like weighed 30 or 20 pounds more. He was 4.3540. So you don't realize how fast Marshall Faulk was. Lord Farquhar.
Lord Farquhar.
Yeah, dude. So anyways, we see like a comp to a historic running back. We're looking for special in these late rounds, and I'm going to give you special on each one of these 3. Dude, Achane is so special, and he's going to a running back like coach, literally, that makes people even more special. The only issue, we talked about this before, Jason, Teron Armstead needs to stay healthy for this offense to work. So it is a gamble, dude, but like you're getting top 25, like literally top 25 upside here with even more if he goes nuclear and just like takes the job. I love Devon Achane. I've loved it since before the draft, and when we went to Miami, I loved it even more. So that's my first late round running back, Jason.
You decided to talk about the guy who's going to be a killer on the Madden video games.
Yeah.
I see this guy on those games, or I just like picture it, because the way he plays, it's like a video game. Oh, B, spin, right trigger, burst of speed, hurdle, stiff arm, death stare. I don't know.
All right.
But yeah, he's going to be fun to watch. And he went to the right coach. He went to the right system. He's going to be a guy. You're going to see some like 50, 60, 70, 80-yard touchdown plays out of this guy next year.
I'm so excited for him, but it reminds me. We'll talk about that later. I think he's much safer than my James Cook love last year. There's a guy later on this list who might match that James Cook love. All right, Jason.
But you're right, Tyler. Those two running backs ahead of him are injury-prone players.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's just, dude, this offense is going to have so much speed on the field. It is insane, and I want a piece of it. I want a piece, but I want it late because of that offensive line. Jason, who's your next dude?
Deontay Foreman, related to Eric Foreman from that 70s show. This is grandpappy. He's 27 years old. His ADP right now is round 14, so a little bit later.
Bears, right?
For the Bears?
Yeah.
Yes. They signed him in the offseason. He's the bulkier running back on the roster, which means I see him being like the possible goal line back. ESPN has Deontay Foreman as the starter on the depth chart right now. Maybe they know something we don't. I don't know. They also fired a lot of people recently, so it could be a mistake, and that could be one of the reasons why someone got fired. The coach with the crazy last name, Matt Eberflus, he doesn't appear to have faith in Khalil Herbert, like heavy workload, because Montgomery left and everyone was like, Herbert's going to be the guy, but then they just started bringing in players, running back. So apparently they don't have a lot of faith in him having a heavy workload because they added 2 running backs and drafting. Let me see if I get this guy's name right. Roschon Johnson.
Yeah, he's very popular on the Reddit right now.
Right. From Texas. I believe he was Bijan Robinson's backup, right?
I did not know that, but
yeah,
okay.
I think that's the case. Crazy. I might have to do a little fact check later. But, they did get him in round 4, so there's not a lot of capital with him. And then, their head coach, Eberflus, his identity is to run the ball. So they're going to focus a lot on the run game. Chicago Bears are 5th in the NFL with their block run win rate at 74%. And the Bears also led the NFL in rushing in 2022 with 177 rushing yards per game. One thing here is that Herbert and Foreman, they both can't catch. Herbert had 9 receptions last year, and Foreman had 5 in 2022. So I think, they're going to focus a lot on the run just because the running backs can't catch. And what I see coming out of here, I think I'm going to see a lot of like thunder and lightning in the backfield. So I think Foreman is going to get enough touches as a round 14 draft pick that he's going to able to help you in your fantasy leagues.
Jason, I think that's like, dude, round 14, you said?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're picking him up, like when kickers and defenses are getting picked up, and it's like you got to think about he's got a defensive head coach. Everybody on that, I mean, they've got a rookie and then a bunch of small running backs. They're heavily invested. They want to see what they have in Justin Fields. Like they want to eliminate variables, and they see like Foreman as the consistent, get you short yardages, get you in position for a second down, third down passing downs. So I can see them like really like leaning on Foreman in the beginning of the year and just to see what they have with Justin Fields. And if there's success there, that can continue on. So you're telling me like potentially a starting running back on a rushing team with a defensive head coach gets to play the Lions and the freaking Vikings, even though I do believe in the Vikings defense this year, but still, I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, and like I said, he has the possibility of being the goal line back just because he's the bigger back on that roster. They have 4 running backs on that roster. Johnson, who our team in behind the building did confirm he is from Texas. He was the backup to Bijan Robinson.
We can't afford anybody back there, Jason. We're negative, man. We're negative over here. We need some. We can't afford anything.
You don't need to know that. It was my wife who did it.
Okay.
And they also have Travis Homer on that team. So he is definitely the bigger back out of all of them. And so there's a good chance, like I said, that he's going to be the goal line back, which is huge on a rushing team.
Hell, he was a better runner than Christian McCaffrey last year after Christian McCaffrey left. The whatever.
Yes, he did pretty good last year for carrying the load as a Carolina Panther.
You got to carry the load. All right. Hopefully I don't spell this name wrong, Jason.
Okay. Algae.
All right, dude. This is my brother from another mother.
What's
Tyler Allgeier, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we don't share the same last name. If I have anything in common with anybody, we're brothers from another mother. So there you go.
Different dads.
All right. So the Falcons, we're looking for special here, Jason. Tyler Allgeier, ADP 165 going 12th round. So it's like, right before the kickers and defenses here. The Falcons are rated 7th in offensive line going into next year. They run the ball. They're one of 3 teams that run the ball more than they pass the ball. So opportunity is plentiful, even though they just got Bijan Robinson, like number 8 overall or something like that. So people are freaked out about Tyler Allgeier. He has fallen. He was I pushed him so much last year, and he did not disappoint. He was a number 1 rated rookie running back last year, PFF. That accomplishment puts Allgeier in elite company with running backs such as Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, and Ramondre Stevenson. And all those players who just won that award, they were all top 8 fantasy running backs in their second season. So that's like a big deal. That's, PFF's highest rated rookie running back. He got a 86.8 running back rating out of 100. That's number 7 among 40 running backs with 100 plus carries. So he's number 7 overall in general, not just for rookies. Yards per carry, 4.9. That's tied for 7th. Yards after contact, 3.5. That's tied for 6th. Missed tackles forced per carry was 0.245. So every 4 carries, he gets a missed tackle. Dude, that's tied for 5th. So this guy is an all-around amazing running back. He's on a team that is they're going to run the ball so much. It's ridiculous. The division is god-awful. It's man, I can see this. I can see them having 2, how sometimes there's 2, there's 2 teams that always have 2 top 15 wide receivers in a fantasy league.
Yeah.
Dude, the Atlanta is going to have 2 top 25 running backs or top 20 running backs for fantasy running backs. I don't know why I'm trying to say this, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm so excited, man. Whoa, I love this stuff so much. It's crazy.
I know.
So dude, I'm all about Tyler Allgeier. He already has the pedigree. We saw this, Jason. We saw this. Him being the top graded, rookie running back over Breece Hall and all this other stuff is kind of crazy. Even though they're, I'm sure Breece Hall probably would have won that award, but still, dude, history shows that these guys produce early. I love me some Allgeier late. I would take him as my, RB4 and feel amazing about it. So I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, Atlanta Falcons, they love to rush the ball. We saw it last year, and then they go out and get a running back in the draft. Tyler, they were second in the league last year with 559 rushing attempts.
They're nuts, man.
They're crazy, right?
Yeah, the guy that made Derrick Henry. So it's come on, dude. They're not going to stop running the ball.
Yeah, and they drafted a guy who's going to have draft capital with I believe the 10th pick, if I remember that right. But he's not going to rush the ball 559 times. He's going to have to give something up, and Tyler Allgeier showed that he can run on that behind that offensive line in that system. So
he's a big dude, man. He can carry the load. Why do we keep on saying that?
I can carry the rings. That's what he tells the Frodo. He's like, maybe I could have or carry the ring. Carry the load. And then Frodo's all, get away from me! Get away from me! I'm just trying to help Mr. Frodo.
All right, dude. So anyways, dude, seriously, there are some running backs that can produce. There's a 50% hit rate on top running backs anyways. You're looking at these guys, man. There's I feel like there's a 50% hit rate on Tyler Allgeier, maybe 33% on Devon Achane. But there's some safe running backs late in the draft. So pay attention to this kind of stuff. Jason, who's your next dude?
All right, Tyler. I got it. Okay, Antonio Gibson.
Oh,
Antonio Gibson. He's 25 years old. The draft that I was in, he went in the 10th round. But I'm letting people know right now, do not pick him in the 10th round. Get him a little bit later than that. I think they jumped the gun with this manager. But this is a very hard sell. And even looking into it, there were some things where I was like, man, this is a guy that I could really trust. Not at the 10, not in the 10th round, but a little bit later. And I'm going to tell you why I had to convince myself, and I'm starting to be a believer. All right. So first off, he's the better running back with the eye test. You're watching Brian Robinson run, then you watch Antonio Gibson run. I like the way Antonio Gibson runs better than I like the way Brian Robinson runs. And he's 1 year removed from a 10 touchdown to 1,000 yard season. Last year, Brian Robinson he averaged 3.9 yards per carry, and he only had 9 receptions. Granted, this dude was slowed down with a gunshot to his leg, but I'm still just throwing that out there. Last year, Antonio Gibson had 46 receptions, and it was 7.7 yards per catch. The Commanders are 19th in run block win rate, so they need to use a pass catcher because the running scheme is not great. And this next part here is kind of huge. So Eric Bieniemy, no, listen to me, everybody. Listen. Turn up the volume on your speaker. Listen to this. Eric Bieniemy is a new offensive coordinator. He didn't run the ball much in Kansas City, but also didn't need to because he had Patrick Mahomes at the helm. So the Commanders, they have Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, right? Ron Rivera reported Eric Bieniemy is finding opportunities to make Gibson a matchup nightmare for opponents. So right now what they're leaning to is like screen games, lying across from the linebackers or just like out of the backfield. And this is the huge thing right here, right? So Eric Bieniemy did not run the ball much in Kansas City, but remember, under Eric Bieniemy, Jerick McKinnon had 9 receiving touchdowns. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of like an Antonio Gibson type player right there.
And McKinnon's fast, dude, whereas Robinson is not fast. And Gibson is super fast.
Yeah. And he's only 25 years old. And also, this is a contract year. So Antonio Gibson wants to ball out so he can make that break. So not in the 10th round, but I would say probably the 12th round. I would put this guy on your bench and see if we have another Jerick McKinnon from last year.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think that I would still like Tyler Allgeier just because of the offensive line. But, dude, I was really pushing Antonio Gibson. I was waiting for him to come out because, there was telltale signs that he was actually gonna. Dude, he is so good when he gets opportunity, and so he just needs opportunity. And the only way he was going to get that was with a new offensive coordinator. And then here walks in Bieniemy, and you saw what he did with Jerick McKinnon last year. I think that's a great comparison, Jason. So yeah, I mean, dude, Antonio Gibson is hyper talented. We've seen him do it before. And if you're picking him up in the 12th round, like I said, I think I'd still like Tyler Allgeier just because offensive line and the amount of times that they run the ball. But I think that Antonio Gibson is special as far as his physical traits. And dude, McKinnon was a game breaker last year when we were looking at late round running backs that were found.
Yeah, absolutely. I think McKinnon scored a touchdown in the last 8 games of the season. He absolutely killed it. And I can see Antonio Gibson doing this. I don't see a lot of value out of the quarterbacks for the Commanders next year, but maybe not even really much in the wide receivers. But I can see them doing a bunch of dump offs and trying to use Antonio Gibson to his crazy ability, his special ability that he has, and maybe work something out. And I think maybe if Tyler Allgeier was there 12th round, 13th round, Antonio Gibson, faux show.
All right, Jason, you see the name over my head, don't you?
Yeah.
Last night, dude, I was like, I'm going to do Tank Bigsby. And I was looking at Tank Bigsby film and all this stuff. And I was just like, I want special. Then I was just looking at top offensive lines. And I was like, you know what? I haven't looked at Deuce Vaughn that much. Let's go look at Deuce Vaughn. Jason, I'm in love with the runner. I'm telling you, dude, Deuce Vaughn is freaking insane, man. If he was 5 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier, he'd be Bijan Robinson. I'm not even kidding, dude. This guy is ridiculous. Cowboys, okay, so right now, Deuce Vaughn, ADP, 267. So he's going in the 23rd round in 12-man leagues. You might want to check that out in your 23rd round. So he's going to be there. I'm going to pump him up, dude. We're going to get him all the way to being drafted. Cowboys, 6th ranked offensive line next year. Dude, the Dallas defense, Jason, 7th in points allowed at 19 points per game last year. So opportunities as like combine that with McCarthy going to start calling plays, and he says he wants to run the hell out of the ball. Well, Jason, he wants to run the hell out of the ball. The Cowboys ranked 6th in the league in rushing attempts last season. So top 6 offensive line, top 6 in rushing attempts. They want to run the ball more. The guy ahead of him is Tony Pollard, who I do believe in, but come on, dude. He's small. He's smaller himself, and he has an injury history. Can't predict injuries, but still. Dude, this guy was 7th in the bench press among running backs with 17 reps. He's like, so he's not your average small running back. He plays the Lions in the championship week. Let's see. Okay, so I do want to say this. He is an easy comparison is Darren Sproles, because this guy's 5'5", 179 pounds, right? Ran a 4.44 40. Darren Sproles 5'6", 190, 4.49. But if you watch, dude, he is a much better runner than Darren Sproles. Like, oh my God. I'm telling you, man, I was up for 2 hours watching this stuff last night. This stuff was crazy. Darren Sproles' best season finished in 2011 as a number 10 running back with only 87 carries. Well, dude, Tony Pollard, behind Ezekiel Elliott, not this last year, but the 3 years before that, averaged 106 carries a year, 2019 through 21, first 3 years behind Zeke. So opportunities, he's going to have like probably 20 more opportunities than even, what's his name, Sproles did in his best season. And dude, this guy can catch the passes. He doesn't need anything. Like, he needs zero space. This guy, dude, I'm telling you, this offensive line makes, like, if you want to look for sleepers and stuff, look at the top offensive lines, because they make whatever running backs into really good running backs. This guy is super special, man. Like, I'm telling you, he is Barry Sanders. He's Kenneth Walker. He is Kenneth Walker. I was like, dude, this guy sets up people like Kenneth Walker, which is Barry Sanders. Am I kind of blowing this guy up out of proportion, Jason? I feel like I'm about to lose my breath.
Well,
because I love this guy. Oh,
no, he was the guy that when they drafted, at first I was like, okay, well they got a running back, and they were like showing the highlights and like seeing the stats of this dude, and I was like, oh my God, this guy can run for his size. He's just like a little meatball, just like running through the spaghetti sauce of the line and just going crazy. He's got the speed, he's got the agility, he's got the strength, because they were showing some stiff arms. I believe he was like the starter at Kansas, and that he rushed for like 3,000 yards, and he could also like catch the ball. And he
led team in targets, Jason, while he rushed for 1,550 yards, and he was a second graded overall running back last season, only behind Dameon Pierce. So it's like, dude, everything is there except for his size. So this is where you go like, how did they miss this? How did they miss this? Oh, everything always comes back. Oh, well, everything was there except for his size. It's like, yeah, like Steph Curry or whatever, dude. Like, there's so many examples of this. This guy is going to be amazing. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. I feel like this is a whole James Cook big turd situation again, Jason.
I mean, I'm not. I think this is probably a guy that he's on the right team because he's not on the Bills.
Yeah, because that was the problem, is that the Bills had a terrible offensive line, dude. You just trust an offensive line play, and then trust this guy, dude. This guy. Anyways.
Yeah. This guy at Kansas State, he averaged 5.5 yards per carry, and he had a total of 116 receptions. So, and the thing is, Tyler, like, I don't know if you remember, but his dad is like the recruiting scout coach for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and they had, like, they're going to be working together, and he's going to work his butt off to try to, like, be proud or make it. I mean, I'm sure his dad's already
we work together to be proud.
To be proud Americans of the
proud
Dallas
family.
Cowboys. Yeah, but he's going to try. He's already got an inside. He's got insider trade a little bit, and I think he's going to be able to move up that depth chart in training camp, and he's going to be a factor this year.
All right, people, thank you so much for tuning into the Fantasy Football Show. Again, just leaving that like or dude subscribe, that is like makes us feel amazing. Like, dude, just validation is key. We're gonna keep on coming at you though.
Oh yeah.
So anyways, that's it. Catch you on the flip side.
Deuces.